With the Polestar 4, the brand needed to do something different. They have. This electric coupe SUV is nothing quite like any of its talented premium-badged mid-sized EV rivals and will be a desirable trinket for the right kind of customer. Whether it's the volume model Polestar needs is another question.
The Polestar 4 might not be that much bigger than the Polestar 2, but it's very differently engineered. Under the skin lies the Geely SEA, or Sustainable Experience Architecture platform, which we've seen used in an extraordinarily wide selection of cars. Everything from a compact smart #1 to a large luxury Lotus Emea. And the only battery available bolted to it is much larger than you get in a 2, 100 kilowatt hours in size and 94 kilowatt hours of which is usable. In short, it's not only the looks of this car that make it more ambitious than the other mid-sized EV crossover models. The drivetrain choice on offer makes it feel more familiar. We've tried both kinds with this test, either the rear-driven long-range single-motor version, or if there's more in the budget, of course, a punchy long-range dual-motor variant that feels quite different and is for those who are after some serious speed. As you'd expect, it's the rear-driven version that most customers choose here. This offers 268 bhp, 0 to 62 miles an hour in 7.1 seconds, and a range of 385 miles. It is all you really need unless you want to take on faster rivals like the Tesla Model Y Performance or the Porsche Macan Electric 4S, in which case you're going to need that long-range dual-motor variant's extra thrust. With that top model, adding an extra identical motor onto the front axle boosts total output to 536 bhp and nearly doubles the pulling power from 343 to 686 newton meters, and that lowers the sprint time to just 3.8 seconds without too much cost on EV range, a still respectable 367 miles. Maximum speed on all models is limited to a quite un-EV-like 124 mph. As for drive impressions, well, we'll start with this Polestar's party piece. You might wonder how you're going to adjust to manoeuvring about in a car that doesn't have a rear window. It actually doesn't take all that long to adjust to it. 2 screen selectable, 1 pedal drive, brake regeneration options now offered, low and stronger standard, and they're all you really need. There are 3 steering weight options as well, but Polestar doesn't think that you need any fake drivetrain sound effects. On this rear-driven version, or rather curiously, there are no drive modes, although you do get them on the dual-motor variant. You get range and performance settings, plus there's launch control too. As the 12 o'clock marker on the steering wheel suggests, this Sino-Swedish maker wants its products to feel sporty, and that inevitably means a somewhat firm standard of ride. Adaptive suspension is restricted to the dual motor model and then enhanced with Polestar engineered chassis tuning if you pay even more on that top variant for the optional performance pack, which also includes bigger Brembo brakes. Even without all this embellishment, though, you could live with the standard passive setup perfectly easily, and it certainly promotes an impressive level of body control through the bends. The Polestar 4 is theoretically a swept-back coupe SUV, although there's nothing very SUV looking about it. Now, you might well have heard about this car's headline-grabbing feature that, as you can see, it has no rear window, a design flourish that was previously previewed by the brand's Precept concept car. What that means for passengers, we'll get into shortly. Let's cover a few more basic things first. The 4,839mm length positions it between the brand's 2 and 3 models, and there are the kind of big range-sapping wheels of between 20 and 22 inches that you'd think an efficient EV really wouldn't want. From the front, you'd certainly know this was a Polestar, but if you were only able to see this nose section with its characteristic L-shaped headlamps, you might initially struggle to identify exactly which one it was. The screenless rear is, as we've seen, shall we say, unusual. At least you don't have to worry about clearing away autumn leaves on misty mornings from the tailgate. Time to take a look inside, which in typical Polestar fashion you can access via a digital key app on your phone. Up front, in true Polestar fashion, it's very minimalist with Nike-style, fashion-centered, sustainable materials and a high-set, dual-level center console that cocoons you in position behind a 3-spoke wheel with its 12 o'clock center marker. Thoughtful use of textures and lighting gives an upmarket feel, particularly with starlit, illuminated deco upper door panels which look lovely at night. This is the first Polestar with a landscape format central screen, an Android Automotive 15.4-inch display, which is supposed to give the cockpit a wider and sportier feel. That's complemented by a 10.2-inch digital driver's display and a 14.7-inch head-up display, which in a typically Swedish touch shows in yellow when it's snowing. Surprisingly, you don't really notice the lack of a rear screen, and one of the reasons why is that this Polestar certainly isn't short of glass. A huge swathe of it is above you with this massive panoramic fixed roof, to which can be added a layer of electrochromic film if you're worried about potential glare. There obviously has to be a digital rear view mirror to take the rear screen's place. It's 8.9 inches in size and it's activated by a Gentex 2.5 megapixel roof mounted camera, which offers a 121-degree field of view and can pan left and right when you're indicating. If things are suspiciously quiet with the kids on the back seat, then a press of a button returns the mirror to its original format. Time to consider the rear. Now, the whole idea of not having a rear screen is part of what the company calls a new approach to SUV coupe design, which aims to deliver this genre's appealing, swept-back look without the usual compromises in rear seat passenger headroom. So let's take a look. The reason that there can't be a rear screen in this car is because the designers have repositioned the rear header rail from its usual siting at the back of the roof there to a place just behind the rear passengers' heads. And that is, of course, exactly where the rear screen would normally be. You might fear that this would create a coal hole experience for rear seat occupants, but largely thanks mainly to the way that this huge glass roof stretches back behind the passengers' heads, and partly also because of the little quarter-light windows there, it really doesn't feel like that at all. And as promised, headspace is indeed really generous for a coupe SUV of this kind. Polestar says a couple of 6'2" adults will comfortably fit here, even before these heated back seats power recline back from 28.5 to 34 degrees via buttons in the armrest. Subjectively, there seems to be a lot more leg space than you'll get in the Polestar 2, even though this 4 is only around 200 millimeters longer. Width-wise, it doesn't feel particularly spacious, but the flat floor that you expect from an EV means that the middle seat occupant could be accommodated without too much difficulty. Let's finish by considering luggage space. Now, this powered tailgate can be operated by foot activation too, and rises to reveal a reasonable 526-litre space, accessed over this impractically silvered loading lip. The most interesting touch is this little pull-down panel behind the rear headrests that can keep the passenger compartment snug if you're loading out back in cold and blustery conditions. With the 60-40 split backrest flattened down, up to 1,536 litres of space is available. If you need further space for the charging leads, a little 15-litre frunk is available beneath the bonnet. Both 4 models can DC charge at up to 200 kilowatts. Now, true, that's some way off the 270 kilowatt speed of an 800 volt model in this class, like an Audi Q6 e-tron or a Porsche Macan electric, but it does allow this Polestar to top up using a rapid public charger from 10 to 80% in about half an hour. What about AC charging at home though? Well, if you have a conventional 7.4 kilowatt wall box, you'll need 13 hours and 47 minutes for a full charge, although in most cases overnight charging will be possible because only 8 hours and 16 minutes are needed if the charge is only from 20 to 80%. With a 3-phase 11 kilowatt AC supply, the charge time is 11 hours, and that you can reduce to 5 hours 30 minutes if you use a 3-phase AC charge using the upgraded 22 kilowatt AC charging system, which was standard on this car at the time of this test. This 4 encapsulates Polestar's gradual repositioning away from its former Volvo parent, not least in the fact that it's the first car from this EV brand to be built on a Geely platform rather than a largely Volvo one. And the design here feels far more uniquely Polestar, not least in the polarizing decision to do without a rear screen. The company says it doesn't use customer clinics as part of the development process, which is just as well, because that feature wouldn't have survived that process. But you might like it, and you might very well like this car. The competition it faces is formidable, but we think that this 4 has enough about it to stand apart. Whether its premium pricing will allow it to sell in the kinds of numbers that the brand's hoping for is another question entirely. Rarity, though, might well be another draw of the 4. It has plenty.